Let's put your hands together for our next speaker, Nana Akua Birmeh.
Good morning, and I'm very honored to be speaking today. I mean, the speakers on this tab are absolutely amazing, and I really feel absolutely honored to be speaking on the same platform with them. Yasmin asked me to speak on the topic of competing with giants. I'm sure you can all appreciate that Ghana is going through some kind of artistic renaissance or like creative revival. And today's presentation, it's looking very clear that it's a bit difficult. In fact, creatives are crappy at business, it seems. But because I think I have put it into reasons for that. We are not trained to be business people. We are not trained. We don't have the skill to be entrepreneurs. And if you think that, if you look at the corporate landscape, there's hardly anything there that is of the creative, from the creative industry. And also, it's looking like the readily available tools for, the business, the administration, the management, they are not tailored for our type of businesses. So you have to literally customize things to suit the way you work. If you just start up and start working with what is there. And so how can a creative business thrive against such odds? If we can go to the next slide, the first. Okay, so I'll give you a small picture and I'm using really my story and my journey to sort of communicate what this is about. In school, we do 6 years in school. Every year I was interning at one office or the other. And the first office I worked in, there was 1 architect and 2 technicians. The next office, 2 architects, 2 technicians, next. Really, this is what is available to us. So it's no wonder we go in, work for a little bit, get your experience, and off you go to start your own little dot also with the entrepreneurial skills you never had. So, in other words, we don't even have the giants. There's no giant here. So, when I started my practice, there was a different kind of giant. The architectural landscape looked a particular way. Everybody wanted this. I think this is what the media saw. I don't know, but this is what everybody wanted. The castle. My home is my castle. I have arrived. This was the architectural landscape. In fact, you have clients literally walking to you with a picture of one American cottage, insisting you have to do this for me, and robbing you of any opportunity to flex your architectural muscle. Just do this for me. It's one picture from America. So, where were all the awe-inspiring edifices we saw in our inspiration folders on our computers from internet? The gravity-defying cantilevers that have people coming from everywhere just to experience something akin to magic. The famous falling water. This is, one of the masterpieces of the world. This is what we were taught in school, But somehow this had taken over. Where was the architecture they taught us in school? Yeah, very sad. Because they come and they want this picture, and that is it. There's so much more to architecture than just that picture. Every site is different. All lifestyle is different from the next. And I think for us anyway, that's what we do. We try to focus the design towards the person. We customize it, we personalize it for you. Sometimes it may not be even how much money you have, but at the end of the day, this is your house. You can go anywhere in the world. This building is going to be specifically tailored for you. And that is what we were taught. So anyway, this was it. It turned out we didn't even, that's another topic for another day anyway, this roof matter. So off I went, all guns blazing. I did art in secondary school, so principles of design in check. Next slide. 6 years in architecture school, check. 1 year of intense apprenticeship with this old lady here who I call my architectural mother. Intense, German machine. Go back. Ready to break through the literal roof of architecture. So, was I in for a hustle? Now, when every single person from messenger to CEO has one picture in their head that this is what architecture should be, your clever little boxes with streaming daylight and texture and free-flowing spaces, integrating indoor, outdoor. These are all just something, please, just give us this picture. So, as for the developers, don't go there. Their business thrived on what customers know and want. Not necessarily what should be there, but this is what customers know. They also have the pictures. So, I even had one very prominent developer buy into this. They had my neat design. They even advertised it in the papers. That was a very proud moment for me. Here we're going to make a change, break something. And unfortunately, they also chickened out. Going right back to what they knew and trusted. So, when in a serendipitous move, an old family friend, starting out as a developer, and myself starting out as an architect, connected. It was a risky business from day one. This try your luck move birthed what is now known as Imperial Rooms. We started from, go to the next slide. Our very first project, this is Imperial Court. This was apartments. It was one family unit compound that we converted. Now we have 21 families living there comfortably, myself included, with my 3 children. Very comfortable, very nice, different. Next slide. Then Imperial Lodge, also apartments, duplexes. Those who saw it when it was like this, some people may have seen this when it was like this. It's changed now, and this is in Ring Road. This, for example, we call our Marmite building. I mean, we sit in our office, and here, the number of people that come in and say, oh, wow, I love that building. And some come and say, oh, dear, what's this? Like, you know, and we take it. You either like it or you hate it, but you will not pass by it without connecting with it. And that's what architecture should do. Architecture should connect with the people. And this is the kind of thing we are trying to push in the system, that the architecture will be more than just a box with a roof. Other ones, yes, Premier Place. So as you can see, Imperial Homes is also growing. Obviously, the same customers, clients, were responding very positively to this, and still are. The same thing that everybody was running away from. Next slide. So it goes on and on. This is not Imperial Homes, but for example, this is another developer. This is a 30 number apartment, 10-story building. It's just started construction. The banks came too. So, for example, they came to us to give them an architectural brand, because all the banks were towing a particular line at that time. Then we called it the branding diarrhea. When you go there, it's just the brand, the promotional things. It was more about, those things, not the architecture itself. So for them, we developed this brand, which they are now using with all their branches, but it was different when it came. And actually, we had quite a number of others following up us, because now the pressure was there for the other banks to also, get their game on. Next. These are some more projects. We do homes, more homes, offices. So basically, you end here. One, trying to drive at is, you have to brand your craft. If you're going to compete with giants, you have to defy the status quo. What is happening? Are you going to come in are you just another dressmaker? We all know dressmakers. It's ready, it's not ready. Are you going to be just another baker? Are you going to be just another of what is already there? You're going to have to go back to basics. and chart your own course, because your clients and customers are going to have to come to you for that one thing that they can only get from you. Now I look around and see the same developers that rejected my ideas boldly advertising the same clever little boxes all over the city. Now, in 5 years now, we're 5 years this year, Archxenus has 12 architects, 6 technicians, 6 administrative, then we have logistics, personal assistants, it's just, we are 30 plus people, most of who are ladies actually, not intentionally, it just happens that we have so many more ladies in the office. This is where we are, but this is not it. And we do get actually also now a lot of interest from students. So in a year, one summer break, we can have up to 20 interns in the office. We put them all to all kinds of work, research, and they enjoy it every year. In fact, they keep adding on more. We have to create more space for them. And as a business, we've had to fashion out all kinds of administrative and operational matrices and systems, just customize things for our own operations. And just to sustain our growth. Why do we want to grow? Because the real giant is out there. In South Africa, where a firm has an entire department, just tech geeks, developing apps, doing everything technology-wise to facilitate their architecture. In Copenhagen, where a firm has up to 100 architects just dedicated to international competitions. How will I compete with this? 100 people, just not even for the entire company, just competitions. Or in the UK, where a Ghanaian, someone with Ghanaian roots, it's now Smithsonian, it's open now, David AGIA. Ladies and gentlemen, all these firms are available to the same clients here in Ghana. When they want that quality, that capacity, with today's global village, they just go and get these same people to come and do the work here. Do we not have architects here? Yes, we do. Can we design like, yes, we can. When it comes to that, okay, next one. I say, cut your coats according to your dream. We are raised to do things according to what you've organized and can see. So, and that is absolute truth. You can't shoot above what you are able to. But unfortunately, what that has done is a lot of people dream according to their capacity. There is no limit in dream world. Sometimes you have to work your way up to the vision. Sometimes you have to risk your way up to the vision. Either way, you cannot afford to lose sight of that vision. And any opportunity you get to grow, you grab. Because the giants are there, even if they are not within your immediate, they are out there. So, one of the things I say is to invest in your business. We get a lot of people working in our office and being a bit surprised. Well, first the question comes, oh, you guys are on the ground floor. No, because my office is on the ground floor as well. So once you walk to the CEO's office and she's they must just own the ground floor. No, we are also upstairs. We just kept admin and those people up there. It's up because they don't see this. You don't go to creative firms and find actual capacity. And beyond that, I also believe strongly, especially for creators and for us as architects, your space must speak what you do. If you come there, so many experimental things. If you had any doubts of what we are able to do, you just need to visit us in the office. And all those doubts will go out the window because you can see. And this is not just Ghanaians. We are collaborating with people from all over the world. And when they come and see, just by entering into the office, It's like, okay, they can, and it's not a bright, shiny, expensive office. No, it's just creative. It is just creative. I don't have photos of that, but it's just creative, and you have the confidence that this professional knows what they're about, and that is important. Unfortunately, people don't want to put the money to things like that because it's money that goes, and where does it come from? But the benefit is, you know, in the future, maybe, in just the confidence you build in your clients. Then, another thing, we invested a lot in our, I call it equipment. So I'll tell a story. Recently, a group of architects, we were in Copenhagen for an architectural thing. And going through one of the main, this is a big office in Copenhagen, one of the big ones that talk of hundreds, 500,000 people anyway. So they were taking us around their office, showing us. We went to one room where this is where they do it's about this big, their physical models and so on. They point to a 3D printer, and as he's about to talk, one of my colleagues, oh, don't worry, this 3D printer thing, you know, in Ghana, where we're coming from, it hasn't really reached. I said, what? We bought a 3D printer 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And it was, there was some people who didn't even know that we had this. At that time, we bought it because, well, it's a craze. Of course, it has something to do we can just print out our drawings and it's a model. This is something we want to explore. This is something we want to experience. I won't go to America and see a 3D printer and be confused. We invested in what we have. If we have to print papers as large as here today, we have our plotter for it. Everything we need, we've tried to put it there. When we get the money, we buy it, we put it there. We are not maybe the richest, possibly, most likely not the richest firm, but we have everything we need to be that richest firm in some future. So that's another, for investing in the business, those are two things I'll outline. Then invest in your people. For some time now, we've been doing something in the office. Every year we ballot, actually. The year before, we identify different international engagements. Some are conferences, some are all kinds of things, and then we ballot in the office who goes for what. But by the time we get into that year, everybody knows where they are going that year. And yes, it's very expensive. Some of these conferences cost $2,000, $3,000, and for all these people, that's a lot. Then you can't think of plane tickets. It's really a lot. But what we did, and that's the thing about people, your staff to understand, what we did is we pay for the participation, and because we give that much time, they save up themselves, buy their own plane tickets. If you live in a little hotel, at the end of the day, you are going to get that exposure. And it's critical that for architecture especially, we have to be exposed. You cannot have a client, no matter where they are coming from, sit in front of you and talk about concepts you can't even perceive, because there's a difference between knowing something on paper and feeling that thing, touching that thing, experiencing it for yourself. It's nothing now that anybody can come and say in my office that even the least of our architects cannot stand with you boot to boot. We have seen it, we have been there, we have done that. So it's an expense, it's an investment, but the benefit is worth more than that amount we spend. Another thing with the people, I think probably this is where Anita was trying to drive at. So we have majority female office, and majority female comes with children and the occupational hazard of being a female. So yes, we have made our office so child-friendly and comfortable that we have literally people coming in with their newborns, because after maternity 3 months, you still have to breastfeed, can leave the baby, all kinds of things. So as I started the company, when I just had my baby with my crib next to my chair, when the client comes, the crib is there with the baby inside. Same way, this year there's been already 3 babies, so there are 3 cribs in the office. We are setting up a playground. We are still relevant when we are pregnant and we have a baby. We can still work, we can still think. It's just that most places won't accommodate us. So we are accommodating ourselves. we network with some of the world's biggest names in the industry, because that is our competition. Eventually, we don't fear them, because you also see what they are doing, you also see what you are capable of doing, and see that at the end of the day, I can actually do just as well as they are doing. So we invest in that kind of network. And recently, after one of our trips, we realized that a lot of these serious firms are engaged in some, competitions, international ones, and quickly I registered myself. We collaborated with my architectural mother here, and we spent maybe 2 months, day and night. We registered for some museum in Peru. Nobody has been to Peru, but we were going to design a museum for them. And not so much to try to win this, but just to see what it takes to go for a competition like that. At the end, obviously we didn't have the skills, so it went. We did not win, but we waited patiently for the shortlist. And when the shortlist came, it was amazing. Every single submission and the concept, we had actually tried this in our office. It's just that we didn't know how to put it out there. So there's a skill to it. Now we are collaborating with a Greek firm for a competition. How ready we are to learn those tricks, because the next one we're going to go at it and we will have those tricks. Hopefully we win a project somewhere, I don't know. But at the end, I don't know how far this can take us. Archxenus New York, Archxenus Lagos, Archxenus Tokyo, Archxenus anything. Why not? They bring them from all over the world to come and do things here. Why can't they come and take us from here to go do things all over the world? Why can't we also shine the star of Africa all over the world? This is our dream, this is our mission. Thank you very much.
Questions, please. We have approximately 6 minutes for questions. Who has the microphones, please? Yes. So kindly put your hand up and do stand up. Tell us your name, where you are coming from, joining us from, and go ahead with your question, please.
Congratulations, by the way. I'm very proud of the work you're doing. I'm in the same industry. The question I want to ask is, in this industry, one of the biggest challenges that we have is managing our, letting the client understand what our costs are, because you're not buying cement, you're not buying blocks, but you're still paying people, you're buying people's time. How do you let clients understand that time is something that they need to pay for, and how do you track your time and the cost of your time?
Thank you very much for this question. I actually have a slide for this, if maybe they try to open it later. You're very right. It's almost impossible to get people to understand that the time we spend is value. And it's always the case when you are charging the clients that, oh, how we can talk. Because nobody wants to pay for just, you're not buying anything, what are you paying for? So this is probably, are you an architect? Okay, so I mentioned earlier I've been pushing something down my colleagues' throats because there's a concept I'm trying to propose which should be able to help us around some of these things. And in our office, for example, I said we have had to develop some matrices for all this kind of things. So for example, if we were, that's our office. If we were, a client came in with a project, it's maybe commercial, we look at the area, total area, we break it down into, we know in our capacity what kind of resource we'll put to it. So we'll put maybe a project manager, 2 project architects, a technician, maybe logistics. So we form a team. We have actually put a day value to every member of this team. That's the value of their work. So we put all this together, and then we look at the time ideally we should spend doing a project like this. So it's X number of days. By the time and then of course you have the overheads and whatever on top as a percentage. by the time we've put all this together, we know what it's going to cost us. It's once you open up the details like this to a client, they tend to start understanding more what is going into this. And sometimes, of course, when you have some clients, for some reason, it's not hitting that mark, then what we do is we go back to the components that brought us that figure in the first place and tweak that. So even though we may have charged a little less than we were expecting, our actual input will not run us at a loss. I don't know if you get what I mean. So this is a matrix we have. I shared it with the little forum of ours. They were all very excited about it. I can make it available to you. But those are like little things we have to do for ourselves, because it looks like the tools they didn't really consider us when they did it for the banks and the traders and all that. But it's not. So we have to kind of develop this for ourselves. So that's what we have. That answers your question. Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you for the insights, and we thank God for how far He's brought us. We hope we get to the skies.
Amen.
Right. Looking at the trajectory of growth for you, would you say it's evolving, accidental, or deliberate?
It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, because what we've done is we started out putting our, in quotes, brand there and getting the exposure somehow. And for this exposure, the clients come. And like I said, they come to you because this is where they'll get this anyway. Of course, it is picking up. Others are doing the same. But what's happening is we just keep ourselves moving on so that we also have, we always have some kind of lead. So that's conscious, and then of course some of these things I've mentioned, it keeps us going. Another thing maybe I'll say is, and that comes back to how we operate or administrate creative business. So for example, when we started, my administrator and co, they know the traditional management system, so everything we are doing is, they have some with the income and all this inputs, outputs, general, cutting across. But you see, our work is project-based. Very, we don't get any income from anywhere but on projects. So eventually I had to get us to start even accounting for what we do based on projects. And if you look at projects, you look at the value of a project, what it's bringing in, you can afford to have a team set up. This team may eventually join the bigger pool, but you have a team for this project. So they are working, the money is coming, it's paying them. And then it just goes, so that's the kind of maybe sustainable growth we practice. It's very project-based and tailored to us, tailored to the way we work. So a bit of both accidental and very intentional as well, a bit. Does that answer you, please? Some. All right, thank you.
What I want to ask is, how do you deal with working in a very patriarchal society where you're first seen as a woman before you're seen as a brain?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's always a challenge. Well, most of the times, and I think when even when she was setting this up, Yasmin, she said, I can't find anything on you anywhere. Like, where are you hiding? Yes, we've been hiding. So a lot of people didn't even know the people behind some of the things that were coming out. And when they follow through and come and see a woman, a young one too at that, and so many other women and young ones at that, it's always a surprise and a pleasant one. But our work speaks for itself. And we know it's a problem out there, but we are going to have to face it, and we face it. At the end of the day, if one of my architects is on a site and she's giving you instructions, you will know you are getting instructions. You push through, unfortunately, but we do that.
So I'm also in the service industry. Yes. This is my second company.
Okay.
So just a little bit of background.
Okay.
When I sit at the table, I sit at the table. So the reason I had challenges in my first business was I couldn't understand why clients or customers can't just listen and take the advice you're giving. So I got into lots of needless banters, and the business failed.
Yeah.
I've started again, few clients. It's going well. And I'm in the service industry, brand consultancy.
Okay.
Now, I'm looking for the balance between managing your objectives against the client's objectives. So at which point do you pull the plug? At which point do you say to a client that, look, you're wrong, believe me, trust me?
Yeah.
So how have you managed the conversation with your clients? And when have you said, okay, my dream, I'm shutting it down, I'm going with yours?
Okay, so one of the things we joke about in the office, well, when we were starting out, the day we can fire a client, because they just won't listen. Sometimes, for us especially, where our work has a lot to do also with, that's why we, for example, don't advertise, because if one building comes down, that's a big problem. So, as much as possible, we have principles. We have some basic things that are almost life and death. You don't compromise on those. If a client insists on going that way, you walk away. The money is never worth the problem that will come at the end. So that's one thing you have to understand. All clients may not be yours, but let me tell you something. Every client that has walked away has gone and seen the mistake. Most of the times they come back. And when they go to places and a discussion is being had, even though they walked away, they'll always recommend you, go see this person. You have to make your stand low. And for example, with this, I think it's a small thing with the style and but the whole industry was dancing to the client's tune because clients came with that picture. And it's not that we are the only ones that can do this. There are actually a lot of very good architects in the system. But it's that will to push for what you believe in. A lot just gave in and did for them. So now you see the same ones changing their handwriting, let's say. Could they not have done that? They could have, but there's always the no coffee business. And that was that's the thing, you need to stand for it. You need to stand for what you believe in. Like I said, you will lose some, but at the end, the benefit is there and you will get it. I hope that answers your question.
Taking architecture from an aggregate level a little bit.
Okay.
You mentioned about buildings, drawing people to countries to see them.
Yeah.
In the 19th century, there was an architect, a French architect, Haussmann, who completely transformed Paris. And that model was replicated in Berlin, Barcelona, Rome, other places. So my question really is, do you believe that architects in Ghana can actually group and kind of inspire and give us that vision so that we politicians can actually push that vision?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Yes, we can do this. Our going around mainly is to get the tools, to get the skill, to learn how others have done it. Together, of course, like I showed you in the beginning, the capacity is not even there. It's more to use things here than to import them. Rather sad. But that's because the system is not industrialized. The system is not producing for us. I'm an architect. I cannot produce. But there are people here, maybe this is a call to those people who are looking for something to do. Pozzolana was mentioned. Pozzolana is a brilliant idea. My own father tried to use it for his house. He's a Ghana man. His sister using Ghana. We did his house. We were looking. He went to the beer, got the pozzolana. But for the longest time, we couldn't even get the quantities we needed. It was so frustrating. He ended up building with the same thing again. So, is it his fault? No. Is the demand there? Probably. But we can't know. We have to put some effort into that capacity. So when you go into where they make policies and all these things, please, if you can push for some of these things so that, and I'm expecting eventually one of these questions to come, how are you using local building materials? I love to use local building materials, but where is it? At the end of the day, it must make sense on paper. Has to have standards, has to have quality. So there you go. Thank you.